There's a lot going on in the world of cryptocurrency right now, and most recently, we had the Hinman emails for the XRP case with the SEC get released, and it actually provided more information that Ethereum was not a security as opposed to XRP not being a security. But on top of this, we learned just how much XRP the founder Chris Larsen and the CEO Brad Garlinghouse sold from 2017 to 2020. And let me just say, it is not a small amount of money. It was actually over $500 million, but more on that in just a moment. Now, Bitcoin dominance is also continuing to climb, and Michael Saylor is back in the news saying that he expects the price of Bitcoin to 10x, and Bitcoin dominance having the potential to shoot up to 80%. Now, in perspective, the current Bitcoin dominance percentage is below 50%. So this would cause a massive upset and a balance in where altcoins are currently priced at. So we're going to dive into whether we think that this is actually a possibility. And finally, in just a few hours, we have FOMC. So I want to talk about what could happen there with the potential rate hikes and whether or not that's even going to happen. So let's dive in with the first thing, the Hinman emails. What did these reveal to us? Well, for starters, as I said earlier, these actually provided more information on Ethereum not being a security than XRP not being a security. Now, it certainly wasn't bad information for XRP. It wasn't like this came out and it was damning for XRP. On the contrary, it just mentioned more bullish aspects about Ethereum in some previous conversations. So, for example, Hinman's 2008 speech said that Ethereum did not look like a security. And this was published as part of these Hinman emails. And it goes on to basically just talk about the idea that Ethereum is very likely not a security. And this makes me even more confident that the large cap cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum, are acting as a safe haven right now, and they will continue to be a safe haven until all of this SEC stuff is cleared up. Because with the SEC moving their eyesights from just going after XRP, Brad Garlinghouse, and a couple other people as well, they're now going after Binance, Coinbase, BNB, BUSD, Matic, Filecoin, Mana, Sandbox. The list goes on. Cosmos, the list goes on. Now they're turning their sights on a lot of altcoins, and people are starting to get freaked out. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance over here on the chart, Bitcoin dominance, again, it just hit actually a 24-month high, which means that this is the highest point of Bitcoin dominance that we have seen since April of 2021. So with these large cap cryptos like Bitcoin, like Ethereum, that very likely can't be labeled as a security, people are finding safe haven in them, and they're actually selling their altcoins off into some of the larger caps. Now, speaking of selling off, if we want to go over to just how much XRP Chris Larsen and Brad Garlinghouse sold from 2017 to 2020, I didn't think it was this much, but it's a lot. So Chris Larsen, for example, he sold over $450 million of XRP on public exchanges. Now, keep in mind, that's not private sales. That's not behind the curtain. This is just on public exchanges like Binance, Bitfinex, BitThumb, Bitmart, Coin1, HitBTC, Huobi, etc. We can see all the exchanges over here: Coinbase, Bittrex, Kraken, Poloniex. Just Chris Larsen sold over $450 billion worth of XRP from 2017 to 2020. Now, what about Brad Garlinghouse? Well, Brad Garlinghouse, on the other hand, sold over $160 million worth of XRP. That means that collectively, the CEO and one of the founders sold over $500 million in XRP onto public exchanges alone from 2017 to 2020. Now, why would they do this? What does this mean? Well, first, it's not a good sign. You don't see a lot of founders, you don't see a lot of CEOs selling off $500 million of cryptocurrency onto public exchanges. Vitalik doesn't do it. Obviously Satoshi hasn't done it. A lot of major founders don't do this kind of thing. It's not a good look, and maybe they had insight. Again, I don't know. I'm just going out on a limb here. Maybe they knew that all this SEC stuff was going to happen and that they had their opportunity to sell back then and that it could affect price. Who knows? We don't have the answer to that. I'm just speculating that maybe they knew SEC stuff was coming, or maybe they were just coincidentally taking profits at a really good time. We don't know, but it's not a good look for the CEO and a founder to be selling over $500 million worth of the assets that they created. Because again, it just kind of goes back to the idea of them not necessarily believing in a long-term future. Again, not saying that's the case. It's just not a good look. Now, what about Michael Saylor's Bitcoin dominance prediction, saying that Bitcoin price could 10x and Bitcoin dominance could go all the way up to 80%? Well, as we just saw, Bitcoin dominance broke out to 49%, which makes it the highest point that Bitcoin dominance has seen since April of 2021, which was, I believe, 26 months ago, roughly speaking. So if Bitcoin dominance was to go up to 80%, let's talk about the possibility of this, because that would mean that Bitcoin dominance would have to rise from its current status of 49% all the way up to the highest point that it has been since April of 2017, about 6-7 years ago. Now, do we think that that is the case? Because that is before the large majority of altcoins were around. The only major altcoins at this time were maybe like Litecoin, Ethereum, Monero, XRP, and Neo maybe, and a few others, right? A lot of major altcoins that we know today weren't around in April of 2017. And the altcoin space has rapidly evolved in the past, I would say, 5 or so years since the dominance was this high. So it would have to take something absolutely major for Bitcoin dominance to get that high again. I think when I say something major, I'm talking about the US coming in and saying that like altcoins are banned, they're extremely regulated, maybe it's some crazy tax thing. It would take something of the utmost, like far extreme, to get Bitcoin dominance back up to that level, because that would mean that out of the $1 trillion market cap that we have right now, that 800 billion of it would have to be Bitcoin, and that only 200 million of it, or 200 billion of it, would have to be altcoins. Is it possible? Yes, but I think it's extremely unlikely that we see altcoins depreciate that much value in comparison to Bitcoin. I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I love Bitcoin. I'm not confident that it will see another day of 80% without something really extreme happening in the regulation of altcoins, maybe banning them, taxing them, outlawing them. Something crazy has to happen for Bitcoin to get back up to an 80% dominance. Now, what about the other side of this prediction? Can Bitcoin 10x in price? And this one, I actually completely agree with him on. I think the price of Bitcoin can easily 10x in price. And I say easily, relatively speaking, right? It's going to take a lot of capital to get it there. But the price of Bitcoin's only $25,000 right now. That would mean that Bitcoin would have to get to a $250,000 price to 10x. Now, do I think that's possible? Absolutely. It's not going to happen overnight. I don't think it's going to happen this year. Probably won't happen next year. But in the coming years, who knows, maybe 5-10 years down the road, I don't think it's crazy to see a $250,000 Bitcoin. So I don't think he's wrong about that. I just disagree with him that dominance will go back to 80%. And finally, we have FOMC information. Now, why does this matter? Because this is mainly tied to the traditional markets, but this affects every investor's sentiment and how risk on or risk off they want to be about the current state of the economy, because that's essentially what FOMC is telling us. Now, luckily for us, there is a 95.3% probability that there will be no change in today's meeting. In other words, they say that this is going to act as a breather, keeping interest rates at the current levels and allow, pretty much the Fed to reevaluate the current state of everything. So it's possible that maybe we come back after this break and do another 25 basis point hike in rates, but this is a good sign that maybe things are cooling down. They were going pretty aggressive for a while, saying that they have no plans to stop anytime soon, and they've still made it very clear that they are still in a hawkish mood. They're going to continually raise these rates until inflation is solved, until they feel more comfortable about the state of the U.S. And its economy. So we could come back here pretty soon. I want to simplify this. We could come back here pretty soon and see more rate hikes. It's certainly not out of the picture, but I like the point that they are starting to ask the question, should we actually stop these rate hikes? So the fact that that is even on their mind right now is a good sign. I think it's very likely that we probably come back here and see maybe one more rate hike, maybe two. And I think towards quarter three, quarter four, we're going to really start to slow those rate hikes down, and we'll probably see more pauses. And who knows, maybe we will end up even seeing a cut in rates by the end of this year. I think that would be a really dovish thing to see, a really good thing to see for pretty much every alternative market. Stocks, crypto, doesn't really matter what it is. I think that would be a good thing for us to see. So there's a lot going on here. Again, with the XRP case, all of this makes me more bullish on Ethereum and these large caps. And I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but it does. You look at Bitcoin dominance doing pretty well. The total 2, which is the representation of the altcoin market, or rather the total 3, took a massive hit over the past couple days, and just kind of this free fall almost back to its cycle lows. So with all this happening, again, people are seeing major caps as a bit of a safe haven, since they're not in the talks about all of this security and SEC mess. So I hope all of you did enjoy this video. If you did, all that I ask is that you smack the like button, smash the subscribe button, drop a comment, and stick around for more videos like this one. Now, we have another video coming up this Friday, so again, if you like the content, consider sticking around. We got a lot of cool stuff coming our way. Check out the links in the description down below. And until Friday's video, everyone, I'll see all of you really, really soon.